It's Monday evening. We're together again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. We weren't together last week.
This is not a remote podcast this week. This is a real live podcast where we're together.
Yeah. You had SARS in your house last week.
What did I have? Strep throat.
Yeah.
Hooray! There's still some antibiotics up there.
Streptococcus.
I drank some last night just to be fucking safe because I've heard that if you only take partial dosages of antibiotics, it's really good for your body. It shocks it.
Okay. I can't even fucking see. Let me move this thing.
Yeah, my fucking kids move that all week long when you're not here.
Nah, fuck it. I don't want to see you anyways.
There you go.
There you go. I'll just move.
All right. And if you've never listened to the Brohio podcast before, thank you for being here. I'm the delicious Nicolicious.
I'm the robust Rob Dog. What up, guys?
One thing we're doing this week, we're live on the Twitch.
Yeah, we're trying.
We finally got it live on the Twitch. I was going to go live on the Patreon stream, but I have to subscribe to Google AdSense, where they take over my webpage and put on fucking ads, whatever ads they want.
No thanks.
I'll probably do it anyways. It doesn't mean anything.
Who cares?
It doesn't fucking matter anymore. This week, we are covering a topic sponsored by Carrie Joe Alexander. This is the Tri-State Crematory.
Okay.
This is one of the coolest topics anyone's ever picked for us.
It is interesting.
She said, I don't want murder. I don't want ghosts. I don't want aliens. I want you guys to talk about a fucking funeral home. And I said, that's an awesome idea. And I looked up the story. I said, God damn, this place is fucked up. And then I went even further. I said, and you guys have to stick around to the end of the episode. You know what? We have to interview Carrie at the end, which she's aware. She's excited.
Which we do.
Yeah, we're very excited as well. And then I said, I'm gonna get a mortician on the show. We're gonna interview a mortician. I have no idea what I'm asking the mortician. I haven't thought about it at all. So then I wrote Carrie and I said, hey, we're getting a mortician on this episode. How exciting is that? She said, well, you guys should have just said you should have just said something to me because I work inside of a funeral home. I do the makeup on the dead bodies. I do the embalming. I do all that stuff. You should have just asked me. I could answer those questions for you. And I was like, fuck.
Oops.
So we have two different interviews for you.
Well, who would have thought? I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't have.
No. And we're going to talk to one mortician. I don't think Carrie is a mortician, but she's worked in the family business for, forever. So she's been doing it for a long time. She can answer all the questions. But we're going to gear questions towards her related to growing up as a mortician's daughter and working in the family business of, whatever that entails.
It's going to be fun on a bun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to ask all the Brohio questions. The mortician, she's a very faithful listener's wife.
Okay.
And she listens a little bit. So
she kind of knows what she's getting into.
She listens. She really liked the Princess Diana episode, but she's fucked up just like us.
Okay.
So we're not going to use her real name. We're not going to use his real name because I haven't talked to them to ask her if it's okay yet, and I don't want to put any fucking shit on her professional platter there and fuck that up any more than it already fucking probably is. Just hanging out with dead people all day. You know what I mean?
They're good company.
But we would like to say thank you to our new Patreon subscribers.
Yeah. Good.
I had a Skyline burp lodged right there.
I was going to say you had something going on.
And listen, Rob and I, we do a lot of fucked up shit, but I think it's absolutely the most horrendous thing in the entire world when you turn a podcast on and they're just like burping the microphones and stuff. I think it's fucking awful, Rob.
I love it.
I jack off to it.
Yeah.
Speaking of jacking off, if you guys have any masturbation hacks that you'd like to send our way, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. For me personally, I like to put lipstick on my index finger and my thumb and then fill my mouth full of chicken nuggets, and that's one of my masturbation hacks.
Okay.
That really works out for me.
Okay.
Do you have anything like that you'd like to share?
I can't say I do.
Last week, we asked about if you had a bushy pubic region, send us pictures of your bushy penises. We got pictures
delivered
bushy penises on Snapchat. One guy had a very zoomed in shot of his penis on Snapchat. It was a very small penis.
Sorry.
Which that's fine. I'm right there with you, buddy.
Hey.
But then he just starts like spraying water poop out of his butt. He had exceptional diarrhea.
You guys have to be so jealous of our Snapchat.
Like a sick water buffalo. I'm not giving his username, but it was fucking gross. It gagged me a little bit, but here we are.
Unless he's into that kind of thing. If you want us to share your username, go ahead. Send us an email.
Sure. All right. A special thanks to our first on our list here, Jonathan Foster. Thank you, Jonathan, for your Patreon pledge.
Second up, we got Sarah. No H.
Don't fuck that one up. Thanks for giving me the easy one right here.
Sarah.
The next one is Angelo Zavala. Mr. Zavala, Mrs. Zavala. I can't tell from your picture here if you're male or female, but thank you so much for your Patreon pledge.
Right after the one that says no, we have Sarah and Josh Kitchen.
And the thing about Sarah and Josh Kitchen is we are, and I might be spoiling this for him, but we are his Christmas present this year. He gets to be on the Brahio podcast.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Megan Haley, thank you, Megan, so much for your generous patron pledge.
And last but certainly not least, Sean Lannon.
Lanolin. Like sheep's wool, like sheepskin.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your Patreon pledges.
Thank you guys.
We have a live show coming. We have a lot of live shows coming up.
Coming up
yes.
in the near future, kind of.
Next, the closest one, we're going to be with Hillbilly Horror Stories. Horror Stories. And there's also going to be a bishop there by the name of James Long. He's very skilled in the, in the exorcisms and the exorcists.
Very fun.
At least that's what it says on his resume. And that's what we're going to go off of.
Right
okay.
On.
This show is going to be Saturday, April 6th, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now you're wondering, why are these fucking douchebags having their live event so early in the day? That's because afterwards, not many tickets for this one, we're going to the Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
If you're listening right now, I want you to push this ball down the hallway. If you're listening right now, I want you to put your balls inside my hallway. That's how you talk to the ghosts. That's how you let them know.
You want to get that reaction.
You do want to get that reaction. I don't have a lot to say at the beginning of this episode. Do you, Rob Dog?
Nope.
How's your week going, man?
Fucking terrible.
I'm happy to be back together. I do know that.
Yeah.
Because
we got to see each other over the weekend, too, which is good.
It's very good. Yeah, we hung out. We went out for my wife's birthday. Happy birthday to my beautiful wife. She does intimate sex with me willingly. I love that about her.
We had some fucking killer fajitas.
Oh, man. AJ Green's out for the season. Not a big fucking deal because they're
fucking kidding me. He's out, too.
The worst football team ever. But that's fine. I'm not upset about it.
Hey, we just lost our two best players. Can our coach be out for the season?
Please, God, take Marvin. Take him away from us.
Jeez.
Check out our Instagram at Brahio Podcast. We have new cover art, and if you would like to, you can hire Natalie Knight. Natalie Fight Me. Go check her out. She's on. We have her linked to in the Instagram picture. She does fantastic work. She specializes in animal portraits. That's why she did such a good fucking job at drawing us. But our new cover art, man, there's a shitty kitty in it. There's a swamp donkey, Bill Wilkins, Cemetery Terry, the Villisca axe murder guy. No one knows what he looks like, but he's back there swinging a fucking axe. There's a witch flying through the air. There's a dinosaur blowing fire in the background. That might be a dragon. There's aliens. There's men in black. What's in the far right top corner? Slender Man.
Yeah.
And there's something with tentacles holding up a sign that says Brahio Podcast down the front. And then there's Elizabeth Bathory.
Fucking awesome.
And then there's like the fucking exorcist chick. It's all going down.
It's a party.
It's incredible. It takes your breath away. I lose my breath because I'm fat. You'll lose your breath because how incredible this picture is. I had a lot of articles to choose from this week. The one I have on my screen right now is not the one I'm reading, Rob.
Damn it. Okay.
People kept on sending us this article about this woman who farted and upset a man, and then they got into a fucking gunfight.
Yeah. That's all that.
I didn't read that article because I think women farting is fucking disgusting. Unless women are not supposed to fart unless it's out of their pussy, and that's called a queef.
Yeah.
And if they do a queef and it's dry, it sounds dry like the Mojave Desert, that means they're not ready to have sex. That means you must do something.
That's a UTI warning.
Yes, you must get them aroused. And for me, what's worked for me for 31 years is I take my index finger, and I put it right on the tip of my pee hole, and I push my penis up inside my body, and I show it to her. And that usually is what has worked for me for about 30 years. It's like you have to get the whole entire penis up inside your body, though.
Yeah.
And it works. It's like you got to get the finger right in the hole, though.
Then you just go...
Yeah, you blow really hard.
Like you're popping your ears, and then it just pops out.
And then your butt pops out. Just falls out like a little pink sock. I'm sorry. Now, this article is a little bit old. It's from March 21st of 2018, but this is the first I've heard of it.
Okay.
And how it's slipped through my fingers on March 21st, 2018. I'll never know. But it says a man who is being held by police on misdemeanor charge was sexually assaulted twice by one of the police officers that was guarding him while he was at the hospital on February 3rd, prosecutors say. Now Officer Carlisle Calhoun, 46.
A strong name.
It is a strong name. He's a 10-year veteran of the police force. He faces multiple charges in the alleged assault. What do you think he did, Rob?
Surprise me.
Police were holding an unnamed suspect from, these days, it doesn't matter if you're armed or not. You're getting fucking shot.
It really doesn't.
Yeah. Police were holding an unnamed suspect for a misdemeanor charge when he began saying he was suicidal, leading Calhoun and another police officer to drive him to a local hospital for a psychiatric evaluation, reported ABC7. With the suspect chained to the bed and the other officer away eating food, Calhoun
Good for him.
Calhoun allegedly began giving the man relationship advice before massaging the victim's feet and sucking on his toes, reporting to Chicago Sun-Times.
All right.
If she don't like it when you play with her butthole, you got to get sucking on them toe knuckles, baby girl. You got to get all them toe knuckles up in your mouth. I'm about to show you real quick. I got the toe knuckles. You got to get all the toes in the motherfucking mouth.
That sounds so horrible.
Don't play around with only half the toes. Get all the toes. If you can get the toes and the heel in the mouth, if you can get the heel in the mouth, you a bad motherfucker.
That's a real-life reenactment right there. Then he allegedly grabbed the restrained man's genitals, pulled out his phone, and snapped a picture, Assistant State's Attorney Ahmed Kosoko said, according to Chicago Tribune.
Picture didn't happen, man.
Yeah, let me see a picture of your wiener real quick.
The other officer returned, and Calhoun then escorted the man to a bathroom, the paper reported. In the restroom, the officer allegedly performed oral sex on the suspect.
All right.
To protests. Please don't suck my... Please, no... Please don't stop, before they returned to the hospital room. When the officers left, the victim reported what happened, and sample swabs were taken that contained DNA matching Calhoun's, the Associated Press reported. Calhoun was stripped of his police powers when police first learned of the allegations and placed in a desk job, according to the AP, but was not formally charged until Tuesday. He was ordered held on a $200,000 bond, charged with aggravated criminal sexual assault and official misconduct, reported CBS Chicago. He will also now be suspended without pay, obviously. Calhoun's attorneys said the officer was well respected, helps care for his elderly mother, and performed a high-pressure negotiation with a knife-wielding man last year.
I love how they say stripped of his police powers, like they took away the belt buckle with the coin in it from Power Rangers that made him morph.
Morphin' time!
Listen, I know you're really big into sucking toes and shit. But we got to figure out. We got to.
I don't care what I'm sucking as long as something's going in my cocksucker.
Jesus, man. Why would you listen when you're meeting someone for the first time?
You probably want to keep their body out of your mouth.
No, not necessarily even that. But you kind of went in reverse order. You start with a blowjob, and then after a few months, after you're finally feeling comfortable with that person, you
get weird.
Hey. You mind if I suck on your toe knuckles for a little bit? I really like sucking your wiener. Can I get the toe knuckles for a little bit?
Poltergeist.
Yeah, it's live action in my house right now. It's going down.
I don't know what's going on.
Something's going on upstairs. Now, I know we've, what do we got here? 14 minutes. We'll be ready for the episode in about 4 or 5 minutes, but we have, this letter comes via somewhere far, far away from here. We support our military members. We support our local police. We support our local fire and paramedics. We support everyone. But this email comes from a technical sergeant. He wrote us and said, "Gentlemen, first off, let me say I'm a huge fan. I'm currently deployed, and your podcast keeps me going and always makes me laugh. Your style of humor is the same overly gay, poop-filled, offensive humor that we are used to, and I appreciate that more than you know." So,
overly gay? Check.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Send us the calendar in the next email. The reason I'm writing this email is because I've introduced your podcast to some of my troops, and they have become huge fans as well. You're
awesome.
Welcome. You're welcome. That's what it says. And I was trying to see if you guys had some small merchandise, such as stickers and stuff that I could get for them. We are going to be here for Christmas, so I wanted to do something for my guys that is a little cooler and special for them. 3 of them are from Ohio. I looked on your store, but I didn't see anything small or practical that we could have over here except for t-shirts, which I am going to order for them. Please let me know if you guys have some stuff, and I will gladly pay for whatever you guys can send me. I appreciate all you guys do, and just know that you guys help keep our spirits up during a time when we just want to be with our families for the holidays. You guys fucking rock. Thank you, Technical Sergeant Jacob. I'm not going to use his last name.
Awesome.
But that is why we are doing this shit.
Yeah.
I have no idea how we are reaching people so far away.
Or who would want to listen to us, but it's okay. Hey, it's awesome.
It gets our fucking rocks off to know you guys are fucking fighting the fleas, the sand, the grass, the whatever's over there. And you guys are doing it listening to us. I mean, you fucking rock. You're going to get some stickers.
They're a lot better than we are.
Yeah, you guys are fucking 12 times the men that we are. We can bring a little smile to your face. Or even if you're listening to us while you masturbate. That's fine too.
That's what I do.
That's what I do. We're masturbating right now. But thank you. God bless America. God bless the troops. If you're into God doing anything, America. This episode is about the Tri-State Crematory.
There you go.
And when I think of crematory, I think of a really wet vagina. Not the case, actually. Crematory was where they burned fucking dead bodies.
Oh, okay.
And turn them into soup.
All right. I thought that's where I always got my cream donuts from.
Yes. Tri-State Crematory was started in the 1970s, Rob Dog.
Ooh, that's the decade of wonder right there.
It was something, all right. It was started by one Tommy Marsh.
All right.
Now, Tommy has a son named Brett. Either Brett or Brent. But they call him, I think his real name is Ray. So Ray sounds like an old name to me.
Yeah.
But Ray is actually the son, and Tommy is the father.
You got to give it up for him for being old and still going by Tommy.
Fuck yeah. So just keep that in mind during this episode.
Good for him.
Tommy was the dad. Ray is the son. We're going to start off with Tommy, though. It was called the Tri-State Crematory because it serviced Georgia, where it was located. It was located in a Noble community, northwest Georgia. It also serviced Tennessee and
Alabama. Roll motherfucking tide. Roll my ball sack and my wiener right into my sister's mouth. That's what I'm about to roll. And then when I'm done rolling that, I'm going to lay on the couch and eat me about 16 fruit roll-ups because that tastes real fucking good. Helps get the taste of my sister out of my mouth.
You ever had the taste of your sister stuck in your mouth before, Rob?
No, I can't say I have.
Oh, no, it's so sad because you really got a sister.
I do.
Hey, girl.
Luckily for me, she didn't like boys, so.
Oh, bingo.
Hey.
Mr. Tommy Marsh was a very well-respected man in the community. He ran for county offices. He was active in the community. I got cat hair in my mouth off my microphone just now. He was active in the community, and he was well-respected for opening the crematory because it offered cremation services to the people that at the time didn't have access to having their loved ones cremated. I think cremation
It's a good service to have.
It is good to have stuff. Running water, a place to shit, a crematory close by. Those types of things are not normal in Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia. There's certain things that hasn't reached there yet. Thankfully, they can burn their dead now. We thought, never mind.
Yeah.
You guys will figure this out by the end of the story. The Marsh family was well respected and noble. Tough, not necessarily liked, but respected. They kind of had a brash, weird attitude. There's like a weird dynamic to this family about the way they were perceived in the community.
I mean, let's face it. If you were the only family that burned bodies for a living, I think you'd probably think you were weird.
Yeah, but they did a lot of good. They were active in the church. They did a lot of community activist type things.
Yeah,
they had their hand in everything. But Clara Marsh,
giggity,
they had their hand up on everything.
You can't make a hand in everything joke about a crematory.
Hey, you mind if I put your feet in my mouth?
Oh, no objections. Okay.
I didn't have any corn in my chili earlier. I was hoping I could just get some off your feet.
It's so gross.
Well, this is crunchy corn. Tastes like candy corn that's been shoved up someone's ass. The Marsh family, like I said, there was Clara Marsh, who was Tommy's wife. She was a former English teacher. and a founding member of the chairman of the local Democratic Party, and in 1995 was made person of the county. And you know you are doing big fucking things with your life if you are nominated as person of the county.
They were given a goat.
She was given a goat and some other stuff we're going to tell you about. She was known as Mama Clara, but was not particularly motherly. Many found her abrasive and standoffish. So she would constantly in the community kind of be like, if you need help, we gonna help you. You come here, we gonna help you. We help you out. And then someone would be like, hey, I need some help. And she'd be like, no, fuck you. Get the fuck off my lawn. Get your shit. She wasn't about it.
She was a hard-ass pterodactyl.
I've said this before. If you're going to talk about it, you got to be about it. She talked about it. She wasn't about it. She talked the talk, but she did not walk the walk. And then a local store owner by the name of Emily Willis, quote, she said, it was like she looked down on us. She acted like she was better, like she had more class. Ray, which is the son, Ray was known as stern, but a good Christian, which brought him respect. Well, this is confusing me right here. Because I think they refer to the father as Ray and Tommy, and the son is referred to as Ray and Brent. So I'm going to call the son Brent for the rest of this episode, okay?
Okay, there you go.
Not to confuse anybody. But Tommy was known as a stern but a good Christian, which brought him respect. Their son Brent had been a good athlete and played for his university team in nearby Tennessee.
Foosball.
He was a big motherfucker.
Yeah,
I saw him when they released him from prison, because he does go to prison at the end of this. He rolls out of prison. He's like,
I'm ready to tackle someone who's running the football up the middle. I'm going to break their fucking back.
Big dude.
He's a big dude. I'll fight him though right now. I don't care. I don't fucking care how big. I'm looking in the camera right now. I'm going to cut a promo. Dusty Rhodes. I'm the son of a plumber. Right. Cut it up right now. If you want to come get... Lee Square. Lee Square. The Joe Dirt.
Yep.
Now, he studied business management. Although he dropped out halfway through the course, he, too, was an active church member.
This guy kind of goes hand in hand with the business.
Right.
if he dropped out of business management school, you can only imagine how this business goes.
Right. The thing about him dropping out of college was... Yeah. He dropped out of college to take over the business, which was the crematory, or the crematorium. Some of them fucking ignorant hillbillies on the fucking YouTube are like, they found a bunch of dead bodies in the crematorium, and I don't know the difference between the crematory and a crematorium. Because we roll deep with our interviews, we're going to be talking to a real live fucking mortician. Woo. I'm going to say, what's the difference between a crematorium and a crematorium? Okay? And she's going to tell us. Now, quote, this is someone else from the community. They said he was always neatly dressed and polite. They're talking about Brent, says one member of the congregation. But he never looked you in the eye. He liked to flash his money, too. He had the first DVD in Noble. That's a real fucking quote. Oh, this boy right here, what's he got him, a fucking spaceship? No, this a DVD. Oh, that boy got him the first DVD in Noble. Woo-wee.
Still didn't have a DVD player, but he got himself a DVD.
Sometimes I get my wife to stand up there on top of the tin roof. She hold the antenna up in the air, and I pick up one TV station. I saw me an advertisement for a DVD. Lo and behold, here comes the man from Noble, Georgia.
A DVD.
Oh, Mr. Tommy Marsh's boy, Brent. He got him the first DVD. How fucking fancy is that?
Man, that's so funny how like times change.
Yeah. I can shove an entire DVD up my ass.
Like
this way or this? Not taco style.
Okay.
Not folded up.
Okay.
Not folded up like you got some nasty porn on there. And
you going vertically or horizontally though?
Well, that's the thing. I have one that both ways. Yeah.
Okay.
At the same time.
You have them a cross section, so that's like an X.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. I don't even bleed anymore. In the mid 1990s, Brent married his wife Vanessa, and the couple had a child a month ago. Not a month ago, like from right now, but from whenever this article I got the research from.
I was just like, well, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Brent. But even after the birth, Brent discouraged visitors. No one in the town can recall ever receiving an invitation to the Marsh home, and those who called were not asked inside.
Unless they were dead.
Unless you was dead.
Quote, a lot of people keep to themselves here. It is unusual, says Mrs. Willis. The Marsh family... They built 3 houses on their land, each more luxurious than those of their neighbors. Brent's red brick home stands next to his parents' larger house. The third house has stood empty since Clara stopped using it to give local children tuition 30 years ago. So they got this big spread there. They got their houses all on the same property, and they also have a crematory on this property as well, where they take these bodies from local funeral homes, light it up, take a pass. You know what I'm saying?
Pour one out for their homies.
Now, with this being the only accessible crematory within reasonable distance to these people, I can imagine this being this is probably a pretty successful crematory. If they're getting the business from these 3 different states, from Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, they're probably getting a lot of business. They're probably exceptionally well off, is what I can imagine.
They got 3 houses, man. They got to be.
The funeral business, that is money, making money, hand over fist, cashing checks, snapping necks, doing the do, butt smacking, ball flapping. You know what I'm saying?
Money and death, man.
It's going on, because the thing about funeral homes, people are fucking dying to get in there, Rob.
Exactly. They're always dying.
Oh, man. If you didn't understand that joke, then you turn us the fuck off right now, because that was funny.
That was grade A stuff.
It was.
That was dad joke material.
But the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I looked it up. The average median salary for a funeral manager is around $80,000.
Not too bad.
I could make that work.
I wouldn't shake a stick at that.
I could fucking eat KFC as much as I wanted for $80,000. I don't know if that's $80,000 a day, a week,
Man.
a year.
If it's a day, shit.
$80,000 a day, I could definitely do probably KFC for lunch and then like Arby's for dinner for sure. Let me blow your mind real quick. Arby's, Arbys, they serve what?
Roast beef.
Roast beef in an Arby's. RB roast beef. You see how that works there?
I see that.
Facebook teaches me so much stuff. Now, just like most family businesses go, the intention was to hand this business off to Brent when he was ready to take the reins. So Tommy, he was stacking and packing the dead bodies, burning them. He's sending them off to the funeral homes. So the funeral homes will get a body in the instance here. So your grandma passes away. You take her to the funeral home. You say, we don't have the money for a viewing, all this stuff. We just would like to have her cremated. We're going to scatter her ashes at Kmart in the trash can where she threw up the week before she died.
And there's like no Kmart's now.
Right.
Yeah, grandma's ashes are gone with the Kmart.
Jesus.
They just repo those ashes too.
So
Like, oh, your grandma's at Goodwill now.
Bankrupt.
So they take, the funeral home takes your grandma. They take her to Tri-State Crematory. Theoretically,
Shouldn't be laughing at that. They take your grandma.
They take your grandma to Tri-State Crematory. They put her in the incinerator, the oven. They turn her remains into ashes. They give them back to the funeral home. The funeral home says, here's your grandmother. Thank you for $5,000, even though we just paid pennies on the dollar to have this body incinerated.
Put her in there for $3.50, about 20 minutes till she's golden brown.
Put her in a cookie dough.
Serve her in a casserole dish.
Oh, no. So, like we said, the intentions here was for Tommy to hand the business off to Brent, and he was going to college for business management. Things happened a little too fast. Tommy got sick. He got ill.
Life happens.
And the business was kind of shoveled off to Brent far in advance than what they expected. Brent, much like his father, was a well-respected gentleman in the community as well. He was a local high school football star. He coached his kids. He was active in the church. But Brent, he finally took the business over, I believe, officially in 1996.
Yeah.
His father had failing health, and at the time, he was actually bedridden. Although, officially, Tommy didn't hand over the business until 1996. It seems very likely from my research that Brent was kind of running the show long before he was given the title of owner of Tri-State Crematory. At one point, there was some concern over what was happening at Tri-State Crematory. In 1995, it was reported to the local police that on the property, you could see body parts scattered throughout the area. Now, for me, I'm thinking about taking a walk around a crematory. If someone said, for $1 million, if you can guess some of the items that you'll find around the outside premises of a crematory, what are 2 things you think you would find? I would say, I don't know, grass, body parts, No, I probably wouldn't say body parts.
Yeah.
The body parts are supposed to be inside, not for long. They're supposed to be burned. Kind of a expeditious process, I would hope.
You would like to think.
Not in this fucking place, though. They're supposed to burn the bodies and give them back to the funeral home. These allegations say while they were on the property, they saw body parts scattered throughout the area of the crematory. Mind you, this is the same property that the Marshes have a home. This is where they all have their houses together. So maybe these weren't body parts from the crematory. Maybe they're just killing people inside the houses, and this is from that. They're just serial killers.
Maybe. Who knows?
That's not what happens.
No.
So if you're looking for a serial killer podcast, I would try Murder and Such. They're pretty good.
Everybody's dead that already comes here. So.
Right. In 1995, right, that was the first contact with body parts. It was in 1995. As cut and dry as this should be, the police should show up and say, there's goddamn body parts all over the place. You're all fucking closed.
Yeah. Nobody wanted a fucking thing to do with this mess.
No.
Nobody did.
They wouldn't shut it down due to the regulations and some loopholes, since the Marshes, the family, and the Tri-State Crematory only dealt directly with undertakers. Rest in peace. They only dealt directly with the undertakers. Rest. And didn't deal with the public. They were not held to the same rules and regulations that govern this area as far as funeral homes and crematories. So since they weren't taking business off the street, they didn't have to adhere to the regulations and policies set forth by the state.
Yeah.
They hadn't. There's no rules.
Yeah, and I believe at this time
They're fucking no-limit soldiers, Rob.
Yeah, there wasn't even like a defecation of a corpse like charge at this point in time.
No, there wasn't. And
this actually made that a thing.
you could not take a shit on a corpse without. You could do it. You could take a shit on a corpse and not get in trouble for it.
Not defecation on a corpse.
Now, eventually, he did be for what. I'll get to it later, Rob.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm all over the place.
You're
right
stewing.
now. I'm stewing. This is a good one. So we just talked about how there was no rules and regulations. It was to the point that the state allowed Brent Marsh and Tommy Marsh to operate as a crematory without them even holding the proper licenses. So the thought process from the state was,
Well, they know what the fuck they're doing. We'll let them keep on burning bodies over there. It don't matter. Those people dead anyways.
and I want to be treated with dignity and respect after I die, Rob. I want someone to I want a hand job after I fall asleep. Just for scientific purposes, I want somebody to try it. And that leads me to my next question, which I'm saving it in my head for the mortician.
Okay.
And it has to do with hand jobs after you die.
Okay. I'm sure they know all about it.
I'm locking it in right now. So they allowed them to operate without licenses, but then in 1994, a year prior, Brent Marsh asked his friend, Mike Snow, a Democratic Party member who worked for the state governor, to argue his case based on a claim when the Georgia Funeral Services Board tried to close him down because he refused to be inspected. You ain't coming in here.
I love it. You can just refuse. Like, no.
Yep. Oh, I'm here from the Georgia Board State Funeral Services. Please let me in. I'm going to inspect your property here.
Nope. Mark me down as a refusal.
I ain't having it.
Now, Brent won a 2-year reprieve. Yes, a 2-year reprieve. But when the matter was brought up again in 1996, the board did nothing, believing he would close his crematorium when the local funeral parlors said they would not give him their business. But Brent said,
Hey, motherfuckers, I got something for you.
He undercut all the rival crematoriums and won back all of the business that he lost.
That's so fucked
I
up.
want to burn them bodies over here. Tri-State Crematory. We got a real hot oven over here. I can burn another body. What do you do? 6 out of 5 and 450, 450, 350, 250.
It's just like this is the second time I get the references within the past couple days. It's like the Tom Green episode.
Yeah.
Undercutter's Pizza.
Yeah. And they were burning the bodies for $250 a body.
That's a steal.
I don't know. I don't know.
I got some people I'd like to burn for $250.
I would not undercut that. Like if someone's like, you can quit your day job right now, but we need you to burn dead bodies. What is your rate per body? I would be like, I don't know, $600-$700, not $250.
Yeah.
That's not
I wonder how much he's undercutting by.
a lot.
I would assume, because
I know-
$250 seems like a really low number.
A lot. So
He could have left himself some wiggle room. Like if it was like an $800 a body, he could have went like 5 or 6.
yeah, no, he said $250, and that was a hard line too. Everyone knew that you could get your bodies burned for $250. And I'm not talking $250. $2.50 is what he's doing this for.
Okay.
Stacking them and packing them, pushing them in, burning them. Whew. Some people came forward and said, this was not the case. He was circumnavigating the system, saying that he was not dealing with the public. These people came forward and said they recalled specific incidents where they took their bodies directly to Tri-State Crematory. So he was lying, which is bad. I tell my kids all the time, lying is bad.
Yeah, it is.
And they lied about this. The Marshes did. So the people could bring their bodies to this place. Fucking death is so taboo to me, man. I'm afraid of dying. I am afraid of people in my life dying. I'm terrified of fucking death.
Yeah.
And this episode fucked me up real good. It fucked me real good, Rob.
Death is always one of those things that really is like terrifying to think of. Like if you really sit there, I do this like at least once a week where I'll just sit there and be like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And like you just think about it and you're like, I'm going to be in the fucking ground or I'm going to be ashes.
Right.
Like, that is
so
wild.
sad.
It's wild.
It is very sad.
You don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know what's going to happen. But just, I'm thinking about there was a time when you could just roll up with a body and just drop it off yourself. I think now you have to have the coroner come out or someone come out. There's certain protocols and procedures, but not in 1990 Georgia. You're like, grandma's dead. Put her in the back of the Ford. We're gonna drive her on up there. We're gonna drop her off.
You just give the UPS guy a $5 and he'll take him up there.
But before we put her in the truck, I'm going to need you boys to go outside and give me about 4 minutes alone with your grandmother. Because if you've ever had her peach pie before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get her recipe for peach pie. And I'm going to ask you if that's the right recipe before we take her out of here. You thought I was going to talk about fucking her, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought that's where you're going to go with that.
God damn it, Rob. Now, in October of 2000, a gas man claimed...
I want that to be my title.
Just your friendly neighborhood gas man.
I'm the gas man.
He claimed he first saw bodies scattered around the crematory. He was there. Some people said the gas to this place had been turned off for nearly 20 years. That's what the people were saying, okay? How the fuck do you burn dead bodies with no gas, Rob? That's a lot of firewood.
That's a lot of charcoal.
It's something, dude. But the locals there said,
they ain't had no gas up in that motherfucker for about 20, 22 years or some shit like that. Smelled like somebody dead over there. Smelled like somebody that shitted on their back. You ever shitted on your back before, Rob Dog?
I have not.
You got a hairy back, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nasty.
Yeah, it'd be rough.
Cleaning poop out of hair is the worst.
Yeah.
That would be filthy. So the gas man, he says, hey, there's bodies everywhere. There's some shit going on. The Walker County Sheriff's Office decided the complaint was a regulatory issue. They said, we agree, okay? There are body parts up there. Not our fucking problem, though. This is not a criminal issue.
It's a crematory. Of course they got bodies.
Yeah. There's nothing we can do. This is a regulatory issue. Talk to someone else because we're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it at the time, I mean, the bodies are already dead. They're being brought to them. I understand they're not just supposed to be hanging out, like partying with the other stiffs, but I mean, like, what can you really do?
Everybody wang tongue tonight. Jesus Christ.
It's like the most unhealthy version of Cheers ever.
It is.
It's like one live guy, he knows everybody.
But the thing was, I'll get to it later, there was some really nasty shit going on, but we don't even know if there's nasty shit, because all we know right now is we've had a couple people come forward and say, hey, I think I saw some body parts. Not bodies.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
I was thinking about that too.
There's just body parts. So it's not that bad yet. We haven't reached the bad part yet.
We're getting there.
In November of 2001, the Environmental Protection Agency in Hotlanta got an anonymous tip that there were body parts in the woods near the Tri-State Crematory. Why that would not be investigated and pursued by your local fucking authorities is beyond me, but Walker County Sheriff's Office did a routine check, but they didn't find anything. That's probably because they didn't want to find anything.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, no. Get back in the car. We're leaving. I saw a nut back there. No, not a walnut. It was a dick nut.
A dick nut.
There was dick nuts all over the... I'm going to get sick.
There's testes everywhere.
On February 14th of 2002, federal agents got another anonymous tip that someone walking a dog.
Yeah.
So that person that was anonymous immediately fucking, they know who it was.
Ruined his Valentine's
Only
Day.
one person in the county had a dog. He was walking a dog in the woods on crematory property. He discovered a human bone.
So he was trespassing.
Trespassing ass motherfucker.
I don't trust him.
The cops came and saw the dick nuts. He came and saw the bone.
Such a
Don't
good,
like the meat, but she sure likes the bone.
such a good joke.
The next day, agents found 49.
Woo.
Yes, the next day, the agents finally came and investigated. They found 49 uncremated bodies scattered in buildings and in other places on the Marshes property. There were sheds.
It's only been 12 years.
There were vaults,
Took them long enough.
cabinets, hearses, coffins. These fucking bodies were everywhere. There was no end to where these bodies were. EP agents then arrived on the scene and found a skull and more human bones scattered in the woods, which prompted the arrival of police on February 15th, 2005,
The very next day.
15th, 2002. On the very next day, we already talked about this, the full-fledged investigation was launched. During their search of the property,
Here we go.
they first found 49 uncremated bodies. On this trip, they discovered
339.
339 uncremated bodies. The bodies were not waiting for cremation. These bodies were crammed, discarded, left to rot on nearly every inch of the fucking crematory property.
They got a lot of land.
That's
I would
they were
assume that's a lot of...
stacked and packed.
Yeah.
Elbows, nuts, and butts. Imagine you're laying there not all the way dead. They think you're dead. They embalmed you. They done fucked you up. You're getting ready to put you in the sand. They're going to put you in the burner, okay? But you're like, oh, you suddenly wake up. You're like, I'm not fucking dead. And you can't move.
Hey, Mommy, look at that nativity scene.
They took just enough blood and put enough shit in you to where you can't move, but you're still alive. And then they put you out in the grass. And they just put some fat guy, asshole first, right on your nose out there. And you just got to lay out there in the elements, just getting rain. You just getting rained on. And then you hear some footsteps in the grass right next to you. And you're like, I wonder what that is. And you know who it is. It's Cemetery Terry. He sees all these dead bodies out there laying around. It's Cemetery Terry goes sneaking around. He said, I'm going to set some booby traps because I'm going to catch who's ever putting these dead bodies out here because these are my dead bodies. I'm going to set some booby traps. It's going to shoot out nails and glass and shit because whoever steps on these booby traps, they're going to get fucked up. And then when they fall on the ground, they're going to be hurt. I'm going to walk up. I'm going to put my dick up inside of them. What Cemetery Terry's going to do.
This is Cemetery Terry's type of story.
This is. He was there. I was going to get him for an interview, but his cricket got shut off.
Okay. It's hard to pay those bills, man.
It is. And they declared this area to be a state of emergency. That's how fucking bad this was.
You would think so.
Oh, my God. So they found 339 uncremated bodies, and this is taken from the Telegraph.com. FBI Special Agent James McJunkin. I didn't make that name up.
McBlumpkin?
James McJunkin.
Hey, can you get me a McChicken? No, but you can suck on this McJunkin right here, motherfucker. Extra mayonnaise and lettuce on this son of a bitch.
I just love how the Telegraph, not only do they say his name, and then whatever right here after they say after his name is just as funny.
FBI Special Agent James McJunkin stands facing a pine tree.
Why is that relevant?
Looking for me a McChicken. Or maybe a McDouble.
I like them
A
pine
McDurkin.
cones.
Yeah.
When I made them pine cones, I could fit in my foreskin.
I really like nature, and sometimes that's how I got this job as an FBI special agent. I was sitting here petting a tree, and they walked up, hey, said, you want this gun? How about you want a job? We're going to give you a job.
Special Agent McJunkin.
James McJunkin stands facing a pine tree. He's grasping its trunk, using it for support. His shoulders are slumped, his head bent forward, At first sight, he seems to be grimacing. Then it becomes apparent that he is retching.
Ah.
As he pulls off his white anti-contamination suit, he turns around and says, quote,
Sorry, ma'am. It's the smell. It stinks like hell down there. Decaying flesh, bits of bones. You can't walk for stepping on bodies. I can see their faces every night when I close my eyes. It's like living in a Stephen King novel. He gags.
Oh, God.
Sorry, we do sound effects here. He gags. Oh, Jesus. Turning away and trudges back down the dusty dirt track towards the red brick crematorium, trailing a machete behind him.
That's a badass motherfucker. Right
The
there.
undergrowth is so thick we have to hack it back.
He shouts over his shoulder.
Hey, we gotta hack it back. It's really long.
Fucking shit everywhere.
Quote, What's underneath? It's like a battlefield, like the remains of several bloody massacres all years apart. And he was from Georgia, so I know that's what it sounded like.
It's a good old boy's voice.
State of emergency was declared for the surrounding area. A federal disaster team had to be brought in from Maryland.
Ooh.
That's right next to Sadland, equipped with a mobile morgue.
A mobile morgue.
Mobile morgue, yeah. It's just an RV with a really cold air conditioner. You see this thing right here? She's got about 70,000 BTUs. We can get her down to about 20 degrees up with this motherfucker. You get it any warmer than that, and the ball cheese starts to smell real bad. They're not saying anything, though. They're just a bunch of dead fuckers. Coffins were haphazardly stacked in rooms.
All right.
Corpses were lying in boxes that were disorganized with their fluids leaking into the floor, so much so that the Marsh family had to take steps to cut holes in the floor of this building to allow all the greases and fluids that were draining off the bodies to go somewhere so they were not pooling in the floor of the crematorium.
That's crazy.
And some were in their Sunday best, meaning they were chauffeured there after a viewing, while some were still in their hospital gowns, these dead bodies all over the property.
Oh, my gosh.
There was one body lying halfway inside the crematory oven and halfway out of the oven, and there was another lying inside of a coffin, and yet another draped across a wooden crate with the skeleton of a baby at its feet. So it's just like one big party going on over here.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like
all ages.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's and someone coming in and turn the fucking lights on. Sexy nada, what? And they just come in and flip a switch, like when Andy walks in, all the toys fall down.
Exactly.
Someone please turn the music back on.
It's just like Toy Story, except for toys are all dead bodies.
Which we talked about that. No, we didn't. That's one of the cartoon
conspiracies.
That all the toys are dead or some shit like that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Investigators immediately started the daunting task of identifying all the bodies.
Dude, can you imagine? Holy shit.
Jesus Christ, man.
Ugh.
They were using a lot of they were using the tattoos and a lot of them to identify it. There's so many that went unidentified, and their guesstimate is that there are probably around 2,000 bodies that never made it into the cremation oven or the incinerator. Where all those other bodies are at, they're thinking they're buried under the ground or they're possibly thrown in local bodies of water. But there were literally bodies all over, and no one had a fucking clue where they're at. But they recovered, almost 500 bodies. Somewhere north of 100 people were not able to be identified to this day. The team began trying to identify the remains, a process made difficult because many of the corpses were in advanced stages of decomposition.
Of course.
Some were a little more than skeletons. There was a hearse parked out back, and inside the hearse, this broken down hearse, there was a coffin. And inside the coffin was a fucking body that had been there for what they guessed was probably around 13 years.
Oh my gosh.
Mind you, we talked earlier, the gas had rumored to have been off for almost 20 years. And the father, Tommy, was like an advanced stage. He was like ill. He was very fucking sick.
Yeah.
So there's no telling how long they were not burning the bodies and returning them to their loved ones.
So crazy.
Mr. Lehman used to deliver the bodies to Tommy and Clara Marsh. The crematory appeared to be clean, and this is according to Mr. Lehman. The crematory appeared to be clean and in good repair, he said. He stopped making the trips in the early 1980s. He said, sending an employee instead. In recent years, the Marsh's son would pick up the bodies. Now, Russell Friedberg, 51, who owns the Heritage Funeral Home in Chattanooga, and another in Oglethorpe, Georgia.
I like that.
He used Tri-State in the early 1980s when he worked at a different funeral home. The Marshes charged $200 to $250 a cremation, Mr. Freiberg said.
Ugh.
Considered a rock-bottom rate. Funeral homes charge from $600
There we go.
to $1,500 for cremation, with the higher rates including services. Holy shit. And why did this happen? Some say the complete disregard for all these bodies could be chalked up to the fact that Brent inherited a shitty situation from his father, and he said, fuck this, I wanted to be a fucking astronaut, and here I am having to scoop up ass juice from these dead bodies. My fucking dad left shit lying everywhere. This place is fucked up beyond repair. I'm not fucking with it. This is not my mess, not my circus, not my monkeys. Or he was just a lazy fuck. So for what you have to do,
Yeah.
compared to what you would have had to have done to get them. Now, these weren't like,
That was my initial thought. I was like, this dude's lazy as fuck. But then if you think about what you have to do to get rid of these bodies as opposed to just burning them,
he might have just been working out.
it makes no sense. Yeah, he's just deadlifting corpses.
He's like, I know y'all here I'm pissed off about these dead bodies, but this is part of my workout. The plan is I move all these motherfuckers, and then when it's time, I'm going to move them back and burn them.
You see my buns?
Yeah.
I've been squatting stiffs for 14 hours a day.
I got triceps, I got biceps, I got glutes, I got it all.
Got bicurioceps.
I like those.
Yeah.
So that might have been just part of his workout plan. He planned on, he's, getting them.
You got to improvise, man.
Yeah, he flipped the tire truck to the edge, and he's going to flip it back now.
Maybe that's all it was, different weights for different workouts.
Oh, but Brent was immediately arrested for all this shit. They had no fucking clue what they were going to charge him with. I think at first he went to, this first night in jail, it was for like 2 counts of theft by deception.
Yeah.
Which is like when you go to Walmart and they're like, hey, did you steal some bubble gum? And you're like, no. And then you walk out and then you're like, hey, I'm taking this bubble gum with me. And they're like, oh, all right.
Then he ended up getting charged for like 400 and something charges.
Yeah, the hammer eventually fell. But at first, these Roll Tide Georgia, these people are like, well, we don't know what to charge him with, but we're going to get him with something. Like Rob said earlier, at that time, there was no charge of tampering with a corpse in Georgia. All right, we're talking about the reasons why we think they wouldn't have burned the bodies. The machine, the cremation machine, the incinerator was broken, which was the claim by Brent. The family bought their 22,000 power pack incinerator in 1982 and had it serviced only once.
Okay.
Pretty good preventative maintenance cycle they had going on there. In 1997, Ray telephoned the company from whom he had bought it, and he asked for a spare part, and he was told that the model had been discontinued in 1990. The company found the part and offered to install it, but Brent said, nah, fam. He insisted he would do the work himself, ignoring advice that a professional was needed. So part of Brent's testimony was that he couldn't do what he needed to do because the incinerator or the oven was broken.
Yeah.
Not
true.
Not a good excuse.
Yeah.
But the officials that went there, they're like,
We ain't got no clue if it's broken or not because we don't know how to turn the fucking thing on.
so I don't think it was ever said for sure or not whether the incinerator was broken or not.
See, I think I read somewhere that he still ended up performing like 1,500 cremations out of that same machine, and only like 300 something bodies were outside, something like that. So it's like,
Jesus.
it was still working, whether or not it would like sporadically work or
Just
not.
didn't give a fuck. He
Yeah,
was getting ready for college football season. So one theory is that potentially Brent and Tommy, the father, were suffering from mercury poisoning.
Yeah.
So when you, in European countries, when you cremate a body, all of I think the teeth fillings have to be removed from the mouth because a lot of fillings, this is in America as well, are made of mercury. And if you burn the mercury, you can get sick by breathing in the vapors of the mercury. It's called fucking mercury poisoning. It's a real thing. Look it up. Some of the side effects of mercury poisoning is nervousness, anxiety, irritability, erectile dysfunction. I made that up. Mood changes, numbness. I don't know why that's a thing. I can't feel my face when I'm with you. Memory problems, depression, and physical tremors.
Okay. Sign me up.
As the levels of mercury in the body rise, more symptoms will appear. These symptoms may vary depending on a person's age and exposure levels. Adults with mercury poisoning may experience symptoms such as muscle weakness, metallic taste in the mouth, nausea and vomiting.
Imagine that, just having so much mercury in your system, you're like, I taste metal.
Yeah. Tastes like I've been sucking the Tin Man's dick. Lack of motor skills or feeling uncoordinated. Inability to feel in the hands, face, or other areas.
Palsy.
Changes in vision. Yeah.
That's what JR had.
I'm gonna say wrong.
Changes in vision, hearing, or speech. Difficulty breathing. Difficulty walking or standing straight.
Yeah, I think from what I remember, they didn't have their crematory.
The ventilation
the
system
improper ventilation
was fucked. They
so
did.
They were just inhaling dead bodies. And
Authorities did say that the ventilation system was
it
completely
was piss
locked
poor.
up. Yes,
piss poor.
Nothing escaped the room where the bodies were.
They were gassing themselves essentially.
Oh God! And one thing that I didn't touch on. So you're probably wondering, what the fuck were these people doing? So the funeral home gives the body to the crematory. The crematory burns it. They give the ashes back to the funeral home.
Yeah.
And every single time the family got the remains of their loved ones, or did they? It come to find out during the investigation, the authorities uncovered that when Brent Marsh was returning the ashes,
yeah,
he was not really returning the ashes of the people because they were in fucking boxes in his backyard. He was using cement.
Yes.
He was going to the hardware store,
cement mix,
and buying bags of cement. At first, he was using bone fragments. He had one body that had decomposed enough that he was taking the bones and he was using bone fragments and sprinkle it in the fucking the cement.
Oh
Eventually,
my gosh.
he got so tired of doing this, he just gave these people straight cement.
I just couldn't fucking imagine, man. That's some balls. Like,
Jesus Christ. You spill some Kool-Aid on grandma and you can plant a fucking fence post. Oh my God. Oh, let's turn it into a flower pot.
oh man,
That way I can take a piss in it.
I would have been so pissed.
Oh man. There's a lot of other symptoms that go along with mercury poisoning. There's long-term nerve damage. There's ADHD, problems with memory and concentration. Now, the use of inorganic mercury in the form of mercuric nitrate to treat the fur of small animals for the manufacture of felt hats seems to have begun in the 17th century France. Now, this is where the term mad as a hatter comes from, because the attorney claims that Brent Marsh, that he had Mad Hatter's disease. So back in the 17th century, these people that used the mercury, the mercuric nitrate to make these hats, they would oftentimes suffer from mercury poisoning, and they would get the hatter shakes. The hatter shakes, and people would say that he's mad as a hatter. This is potentially what these two were suffering from.
Could have been one of
the
those.
The father passed away during the litigations for, I guess, the monetary aspect of this lawsuit. But they say he was suffering from late stage mercury poisoning, and obviously Brent had something going on with him.
He had a bad case of I don't give a fuck at all.
I like to believe that he had a pretty good grasp of what was going on, that he just didn't fucking care.
Yeah.
And that he was a lazy fuck, is what I do believe. Essentially, he was just... And one person said it best. One of the people that were interviewed that was involved in this, her mother was placed in the care of Tri-State Crematory, and she said it not only did it hurt that my mom is gone, but to know that she was just out there alone in the elements, getting rained on, getting snowed on, having animals rummage through her body.
That's so disrespectful.
That's for me, that's the biggest disgrace of this entire story, is how there's just no care for the people's whose lives.
Yeah. You'd expect someone in that industry and doing that job, to take as utmost care and
exactly
to make the situation already horrible situation.
Yeah.
Even, make it a little bit easier.
And one of the lead attorney that was in charge of the class action lawsuit, he said there was judges, attorneys, there was guys that just got home from prison that had died from AIDS. There were people from all walks of life, teachers, police officers, everyone was just discarded in these fields, in the property surrounding the crematory. This guy just didn't fucking care. The state of Georgia ultimately charged Marsh with 787 counts.
That's the number.
Including theft by deception, abusing a corpse, burial service-related fraud.
Oh, that's a thing.
We made that one up. That's a good one. we gonna throw that motherfucker, and it's gonna stick.
And giving false statements. When he pleaded guilty, Marsh told victims, this is my Brent Marsh voice, to those of you who may have come here today looking for answers, I cannot give you. That's all he said. He did write part of his parole, I guess. Whatever. He had to write an apology letter to all the families involved. It was the most fucking unapologetic letter.
Yeah, and I don't know if you talk about it though. Like even now, because he's out of jail.
Oh, he's out of jail. Yeah.
He's out of jail now, but he still has never said why he did this.
He hasn't said a word since he got out.
He has not said anything about the situation.
And part of his parole is he could not profit from this story at all. So he can't do interviews. He can't talk about this. He has to repay hundreds of millions of dollars, I believe.
So it's like still no answers.
And he got his doctorate degree in theology while he was in prison.
Okay.
Good for you, dickhead.
Okay, so you're a man of God now.
I wish you got fucking stabbed out in fucking prison. Almost 1,700 members of the families of the identified corpses sued Tri-State and the funeral homes that had shipped the bodies there, and were eventually granted class action status in 2 counts in 2 different states. The class certification hearings resulted in certification of a class action after hearings were held in Hamilton County, Tennessee, in front of Judge Neil Thomas. Judge Thomas and the Odin class action certified the numerous cases pending in the state of Tennessee as a class action. Whew. The funeral homes sued Tri-State and Marsh. Eventually, this is not the people, this is the funeral homes. They sued Tri-State and Marsh, eventually settling first for $36 million with the plaintiff's class in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia. Ultimately, the Marsh defendants also settled for $3 million after their insurer, Georgia Farm Bureau, agreed to pay the settlement. Oh, God.
3.5 million.
Yes. As part of the settlement reached by spring 2005, all buildings on the Tri-State property were razed. The property will remain in a trust so that it will be preserved in peace and dignity as a secluded memorial to those whose remains were mistreated.
Good.
And to prevent crematory operations or other inappropriate activities from ever taking place there. In addition to his 12-year prison term, Marsh was also sentenced to 75 years probation.
Pretty much life of probation.
Yeah. And he got released from jail, from prison. There was a news team there. He pulled up with his attorney. Marsh got out, didn't say a fucking word. His attorney got out and said, "My client did not complain. He did not ask me to get him out early." Like that makes a fucking difference.
Right.
I hope Brent Marsh perishes in a fucking fire somewhere. And his kid's light.
Like, can you imagine, like, if somebody would have did that to his dad? Like, how he would have felt?
Yeah, dude. It's just...
Who knows? He probably had his dad there somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, he's dead? I'll get him. I got a spot out back. It's a big old box. I'm going to put him in it.
It's just so fucked up, man.
It is. It's really sad. It's a sad story.
Now, on to the fun part here. We've got 2 different interviews scheduled with 2 people.
We're not going to play How Big Is His Dick?
Yeah. Let's do it real quick. How big was it? Okay. First, we're going to go with the sheriff, who declined to do anything about Tri-State Crematory. How big was his dick? 5'2", 370.
Are those accurate measurements?
Yes.
Tiny.
I know it in my head.
Tiny.
See, the thing about sucking my dick is I gotta reach down here like I'm choking a cobra, and I gotta push the fat back. And I push the fat back hard enough, my wiener will pop out.
Gotta raise up the fupa.
You gotta raise that fat cave. I call it my fat cave. Batman went to the bat cave. My dick hides in the fat cave.
My front butt.
Oh, my wiener's hiding in my fat cave. Jesus Christ.
It's in between one of them folds.
Now let's go with Brent Marsh. How big was it?
Big.
Huge?
Yeah. Maybe that's why he didn't give a shit. Maybe he was just slaying so much puss that he didn't need.
I got me a big old dick. I don't care about nothing.
He probably used his dick to carry the bodies around.
Right.
Like a tentacle.
He was just using their hands to wrap around, and he was just like flexing it.
Yeah, it's like an octopus arm.
Cock push-ups.
It's suction cups on it and shit. Oh, man. I hope he does come fight us. I hope he comes and fights me, Rob. And I want you to World Star that shit.
Okay, I got you.
Bounce around, scream World Star.
I'll even horizontal film it. I want vertical film it.
When he knocks my ass out, I want it on fucking. I want it documented.
World Star!
Well, it's on to our interviews. First is going to be our patron pledge of this episode, Carrie Joe. She's a funeral home employee. Been doing it for a long time. So
she's the beautifier there.
Let's get Carrie on the horn.
Yes.
All right, we're back. We have our Patreon.
Yay.
What are we going to call her? Our Patreon queen.
There we go.
Carrie Joe. Hi, Carrie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Like I said before, I'm fucking terrible. We've been talking to Carrie for like 10 minutes here, and she's giving us all kinds of really good stuff. And we weren't recording, but now we are recording, Carrie.
Now it's all on the record.
It is on the record. So, Carrie, she said, I want you guys to do Tri-State Crematory. And I said, all right, there's got to be some spooky stuff that happened there. No, there's no ghosts or spooky, just a bunch of dead bodies.
Yeah, it's a wild story. Very
crazy story, and I'm so glad you picked this for us, Carrie, because no one's ever done this before, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a big change of pace. What we usually do. So,
have you heard this on another podcast before at all?
No, never. I have never heard anybody talk about this before.
Nice.
You know what, Carrie? You keep your fucking ears open because there's posers out there. And they're going to find us, and they're going to do this shit right after we do it, okay? But we did it first, and it's thanks to you.
I even looked on YouTube, and there wasn't that many even people on YouTube that had videos about it. No, I found like 2 videos.
This is probably how the Native Americans felt whenever they were like, they're like, we're doing this. And then the Americans showed up like, no, we got cheesesteaks and fucking Coca-Cola. We're doing this, motherfucker. But Carrie, she's from Jersey, but not that Jersey. She's from Middle America. Her father, he is the county coroner. And Carrie also works at, is it his funeral home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So she's an employee there at the funeral home. And I told everyone the story, how in the beginning I emailed you like, look, I'm going to have a mortician on this episode. And you're like, why don't you could have asked me all the questions. I work in a funeral. I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to know that?
It was one of those things where after he told me, he was like, yeah, man, I got a mortician lined up. I'm like, that's fucking sweet. 10 minutes later, he calls me back and's like, yeah, so about that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool.
It is. So are you married, or do you have a significant other at all, Carrie, if you care to answer that question?
No, I don't have anybody.
So for all of you eligible bachelors out there, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that to you, Carrie. And plus, we're working on a farmers only
promo.
Yeah.
We're gonna get them as a sponsor.
Yeah, we don't want to turn them off.
Yeah.
Thinking we're trying to run our own dating service.
Yeah, we're not. We're almost. We're gonna work up to morticians only eventually, but
Yeah. You don't have to be lonely
Aw.
at morticiansonly.com. How many boys have you scared off telling them that like you work at a funeral home?
Honestly, I don't think any, because like where I'm from, like everybody knows everybody. So like when I was little, it was always like, oh, that's Carrie Joe and her dad's Larry Joe, and you know,
Larry Joe.
Yes.
funeral home, and like it's just kind of always been there.
Oh,
So-
yes.
Like,
None.
like you know
Okay.
what will happen if you fuck me over, right? You know
Yeah.
what my dad does? We know how to get rid of a body.
My dad'll sew a butthole under your mouth, so when your grandma comes to look in your casket, she'll say your breath smells like shit.
Oh my God.
Because my dad put
I
a butt.
remember when I was like in high school, my dad said that if I ever brought a boy home, he would be sitting on the couch with a gun, and he would say to him, I can bury you in 17 different cemeteries before your parents pick up.
Oh, that's so good.
I love your dad. As a father of 3 daughters, I love your father. Jesus, that's fantastic. Is he retired now, or is he still active?
No, he's still active. He wants to work about 15 more years, I think.
He's
Ooh,
got
good for him.
He has daughters. I mean, judging from your Skype picture here, it appears you have a sister, right?
Yeah, I have, so that's my older sister. And then I actually have a cousin who was raised with us. So technically I have 2 sisters.
Okay, so yeah, that's why he's going to work for that much longer, because he's probably paying. I know daughters are expensive, so you got to.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, like we said before, I asked Carrie if she was familiar with this case at all, and to which you said you're a little familiar. So take us through how you've heard of this case and how you've come into this is kind of come into close contact with this.
So basically when this all happened, I was 4. So I don't remember it from then, obviously. But when I meet with families and make arrangements, like my dad will be sitting there and like I'll write stuff down. But there's families who will ask, like, how do I know that this is going to be my family member coming back who's cremated? Or they will like request to be there when the body is cremated.
And
I understand that.
That stems from this mess right here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and there's it's obvious that it still happens today. Like people will still ask about it. But I remember my dad saying that like when it all happened, like back in the day, there was people who came to the funeral home and was like, can you check and make sure that this is okay? Like, is this mine?
Wow.
And, you know, so people were just really scared by it all. And like, I know in our funeral home, when this happened, there was a lot of people who had talked to my dad about cremation, and then they had switched and they said, I want to be buried.
Oh, wow.
Like, I don't want that to happen to me.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
Yeah, there was a lot of, it scared a lot of people back then. And it still kind of does, but not as much as when it happened.
Well, you're going to hear it when you listen to the episode, but he had so many bodies in this building that he had to start cutting holes in the floor of this building to help the greases and whatever drains off of a dead body. He had to cut holes in the floor to help alleviate the puddles that were pulling up inside the building.
It's like 90 years worth of
There was,
marinade.
like, I think it was like 300 something that they had found. It was like insane.
It was. I'm not happy about it. Rob and I want to fight this guy.
Right.
Oh my God. He's
Scumbag.
like huge. So
Yeah, we were talking about that.
I'm gonna get my fucking ass kicked, Carrie. Okay, but I'm willing to take one for the team on this.
I promise
Okay,
I would
sounds like a plan.
I promise I would world star it.
Yeah, Rob's gonna world star. He's gonna dance around and hold the phone and yell world
So
star.
yeah, world star.
Do you guys have world star? And you said Iowa, maybe? Where are you from?
No, Illinois.
Illinois.
One of those eyes.
Okay, Illinois is not quite Iowa. Illinois is
Yeah.
like
That's just 2 states over.
it's not that far, and they have Chicago. So
Yeah.
Now your whole entire life, your father has worked in the funeral industry.
Yes.
The funeral home that he works at, is it like a big fucking scary building, or is this more of like not a scary building, I should say? I sound like
No,
sound like a retarded fucking president right now, but
it's not really scary. It's just really old. It was like built in like I don't even know. It was like built in the 1800s. So I mean, it's pretty
Dang.
old.
Okay, Carrie, so it is scary.
Yeah. No,
Just fucking say it.
it's not scary to me, I guess. So
Right.
I can't really speak for everybody.
Now, the extent of the hand that you have and everything. So you advised me you are an employee of the funeral home. What, do you work there full time right now, or?
So I'm currently in college, and I'm like 2.5 hours away from my hometown.
Okay.
So I go to college basically during the week, and pretty much every Friday or every Thursday night I come home, and then like I work from Thursday to Sunday afternoon, and then I leave.
Oh my
And then
God.
Yeah,
So your social life is me and Rob, and that's it.
pretty much. I listen to you guys like going home and then like coming back to school. Like that's pretty much all I do is just like listen to podcasts.
So take me through a regular day of the things that you might do when you're at the funeral home.
I do like obituaries, like insurance paperwork, like a ton of paperwork. That's like
Okay, yeah.
kind of weird, but like honestly, paperwork is pretty much all I do some days. You know, dress and casket a body, makeup.
Oh, okay. Stop there. When you say dress and casket a body, does it mean like you do it like Brent Marsh and you just pick it up and toss it in there? Or like when you say casket a body, how do you get the body from where it's at into the casket?
Okay, so there is what's called like a dressing table. It's just a table with wheels on it.
Yeah, I've had sex on one before.
And then so it depends. If it's a small person, then we just like, put the clothes on, and then we just lift them, and then you put them in the casket.
Do they lose a lot of weight after they're dead? It's hard to tell because you don't lift them when they're alive.
No, it's like, I don't know. I've always been told like, dead weight is heavier. I don't, I'm assuming.
Oh, you're dead weight. That's how I yell at my kids. Try to pick them up. Like, no, oh, you're dead weight. I guess that gives new meaning to that shit.
But I mean, even if they're small, the problem is like they don't weigh. They're just really stiff. So it's hard to like. This sounds terrible.
No,
I don't
say
mean
it.
to offend anybody, but it's hard to like get like a good grip to pick them up and put them in the casket.
Oh God!
I guess that makes
they're
sense.
Heavier.
Yeah.
We do what's called backboarding, and
Is that like waterboarding?
Sounds kinky.
and so basically it's like so like if somebody gets hurt and then like they put the backboard underneath them and they carry them, that's basically what it is. And we put the table like by the foot end of the casket, and then you just slide them into the casket with the backboard underneath them.
Okay, all right.
You said waterboarding.
That's like,
Oh my god.
like that's not like
No.
waterboarding, is
Your
it?
family's check bounce, motherfucker. Wake up.
Oh my
Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry, Carrie. No, just know she does not condone what we're saying. She's
No.
an innocent bystander. She's sorry. She's just getting friendly fire right now. Now, whenever do you do like the makeup and stuff as well?
Yes.
Does your mom help out with this stuff?
She used to. So I kind of took over her role when I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh man.
She got sick. She had cancer, and then whenever she died in like 2016. So after that, like I completely took over basically.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm sure your father's very happy to have you there helping with, all that stuff. And I am sorry to hear about your mom.
Oh, thanks. I mean, it's okay. My dad sometimes likes it when I'm there, but I take control a lot. So.
Oh, my kids drive me fucking crazy. I don't ever want. All right, so you're helping out on the weekends there. You're going to school full time during the week. Does your dad does he have other employees that kind of help out through the week, or is it you catch all the shit there at the tail end?
Yes and no. He has like people that he just kind of like hires on the side. Like they'll help meet with families and type stuff on the
Okay.
computer.
Yeah.
But like pretty much all the paperwork I get. So they do a lot and take a lot off of me, but when I
Yeah.
get home, there's still a ton to do.
Okay,
So,
now I'm gonna get to the juicier stuff now.
Okay, good.
That's
That's where I'm getting ready to go to.
I'm probably
I got a good one. You're gonna ask, but
I'm probably gonna ask you some questions, and I'm gonna ask the mortician as well. But I want to hear both of you guys. So, like,
all right.
growing up, did you ever use? So I know when I was in high school, I'd be like, I know a really fucking scary place we can go right now, and I would take him to a Crybaby Bridge or something. You'd be like, I got a really fucking scary place I can take you right now. You guys ever seen a dead body before? Did you ever do anything like that? Like take your friends to the funeral home in the middle of the night or anything like that?
No. My dad would literally beat my ass.
that's
if
what I was
did
gonna
that.
say. She'd probably get
Okay.
killed.
I mean,
Good
he would
answer.
lose his-
Whenever
Like-
we stop recording, you can tell us the truth.
Okay, no, like seriously, that is the truth. I remember one time I had me and my friend, because like there's nothing to do where I live, so we would like go out to dinner and then like
Go to
go
the
drive
funeral-
on back
yeah,
roads
Go to the
because
funeral home.
what the hell else is there to do? But so I remember one time I was like, oh, I gotta pick up something from the funeral home, and she was like, do I have to go in? I was like, no, but she went in and she like went upstairs. And I remember, like, I got a phone call from my dad, and he was like, "Who is at the funeral home with you?" And I was like, "Oh God, I don't know. I was just
It's one of the bodies. Zombies.
so like he is very, I would say, kind of old school. Like
No, that's
he
good.
doesn't really like to. I don't know. Like he's very like reserved when it comes to the funeral home
No,
part. I guess.
that's absolutely fantastic, especially with him being the positions that he holds. That is very important for him to be respectful in all aspects of his profession. And I'm happy that you're not like, yeah, my dad used to buy us beer and he'd lock us in there and then they'd come get us Sunday morning and shit.
No, he wouldn't. Oh my God, he would die. Like he would never do that.
Was do a luge down one of the corpse's ass cracks?
No.
Good.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So my question that I wanted to know, this is like the first thing that I wanted to know, if you can, talk about it. What was like one of the more, was there anything that had happened during that time to like say if it was like a bad accident that happened with one of the people that were brought in? Like what was one of the more like crazier things that you saw that happened to a human body?
Did he say what was like one of the craziest things that had happened?
Yeah, can you not hear him?
No, like it's kind of muffled.
Oh, maybe he's maybe you're only picking up my mic. Can you hear me
Maybe.
really good and then he's like far away?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
That's fucking weird. This happened one other time. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I think it's just Skype.
Okay.
But he just asked like after like a bad accident, what's one of the more crazier things that you've seen as far as people that have come in, like one of the harder situations you've had to deal with?
Right off the bat, I can think of is, kids are completely the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lose it. But that is the hardest. So kind of the worst that I've ever had to deal with an adult is there was a guy, he was on a motorcycle and he had crashed and he literally had to be what's called plasticized. So like it's after you get embalmed.
Shit.
So plasticized is basically like you can do it certain ways, but there's like special, like it's almost a jumpsuit for the dead person and you zip them up into it. So
God.
they can't, so like the embalming fluid can't leak out and stuff. And he was fine. And then when we got him in the casket, like he started to leak and it was like just a mess.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that was probably the worst I've ever had to deal with. And I mean, it was fine. Whenever the services happened, nobody knew anything but like me and my dad. And we were just like crossing our fingers to make sure everything went fine. And it did. So, but that was like the craziest I've ever had to deal with.
It was supposed to seal in the flavor, but it didn't.
No. Oh man. Oh well, I guess that's I guess that's a really bad one.
That is bad.
Way to swing
Yeah.
for the fences, Carrie. I appreciate that. You didn't short arm that shit. You really went for it.
I was talking to my sister and she was like, what are they going to ask you? I was like, I don't know, but I'm like, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit.
Please don't, because the people that have stuck around this far, they want to know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They want to know. Now, is it just like you do a lot of the embalming and that stuff, or is that, I would imagine your dad probably has to be around for you to do that, or how does that work?
So I do not do any embalming because you have to be a licensed funeral director to do embalming.
Good answer.
So my dad has like some vision problems, so he can't see to embalm anymore. But they have what's called trade embalmers who will literally like, there's services that you can just call and be like, hey, this person died here and here's all the paperwork, go pick them up, embalm them, and then bring them back to my funeral home. And they'll do that for you. And then they'll obviously charge you, but that's what we use a lot of the time.
That sounds like some Breaking Bad shit, like calling the cleaner.
Right.
Got to call the cleaner. Now, hanging out in the funeral home, did you ever have any wildly scary things happen? You know, these people, I watched some YouTube videos about embalming and stuff, and they're like,
Well, it can't hurt you. They're already dead.
but have you had any like kind of questionable, maybe paranormal type things happen to you when you were at the funeral home?
Yeah, I've actually had several.
Jackpot!
So the first story is my mom. She was, so after like, we had 2 services in one day. So whenever my dad and the family went to the cemetery, she was like cleaning up the funeral home, and she had turned around and like the stand where the pastor like will say stuff from, behind there was a guy standing there, and he was talking, but nothing was coming out of his mouth. And she was like, the service is ended. Like, they're going here. Do you need any help? And like, as she like took a step to get closer to him, he like just vanished.
No.
Like,
Oh, fuck me.
No, Carrie.
So it's not like I've never seen anything, but if I'm there late at night, like doing paperwork or cleaning, I can always hear them like follow me around. Like I can hear footsteps.
When you say them, you're talking about the dead people, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about the ghosts. Yeah.
Okay.
They'll like, I know that sounds so stupid, but they'll like run up and down the steps. They will, I can always just hear them like the steps.
Hey, you're pretty fast for a dead guy.
I've heard people singing. So one of the scarier things is I was doing makeup really late at night. I'd actually done, so this guy came in and
Was he dead?
yeah.
Okay.
He just walked in.
He walked in. He's like, please fucking kill me and do my makeup.
I'm not that good. So basically, like, I'd come in at like 7 in the morning, and I was working on his makeup, and I probably stopped at like 1 in the afternoon, and it wasn't working. So I was like, I'm gonna come back later. And so I came back at like 9:30 at night, and I was doing this guy's makeup, and I could feel like, I literally felt like there was somebody behind me. So I would turn around, there was nobody there. And so like I kept getting this feeling, and then I heard somebody walk up behind me, and I turned and there was nobody there. And so at first I honestly thought like somebody broke into the funeral home. Like I really was. I was like, I'm gonna have to call 911. Like I was so scared. And then so I was doing more makeup, and then I heard them walk up behind me, and they were right behind me. And I could feel somebody right behind me. So I freaked out, and I basically just like put everything down, and I stepped to the side and I ran. Like I just ran out of the funeral home, shut everything off as I was like running, basically.
I would have done
locked
the same.
the door, and I like cried the whole way home. Like I was that freaked out.
I would have shit my fucking panties. If I were me, I would shit my pants. If I were you, I would have probably shit my vagina. That's what would have happened.
Yeah.
That is horrific.
Yeah, that's probably the scariest I've ever had to deal with.
Do you talk to the people when you're doing their makeup and shit?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, honey, this color's gonna look great on your eyes.
I don't realize I'm doing it though, but like there's sometimes I'm like if like the makeup isn't working, I'm like, oh come on, Mr. So and so, like come on, we got to get this going or whatever. And like my family will be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just like, it's like so quiet up there. I was like, I need to be like either talking or listening to something. I was like, because if not, I'm gonna freak myself out. So leave me alone.
And I would have to feel like the families that are involved would want to know that, hey, like the person taking care of my grandma is, you know, in there still talking to her like she's a person, not like she's like a discarded, you know, piece of meat, that she's still a person, she's still a human. And I think that humanizes the whole entire thing, which is really, that says a lot about you. And I think just from the brief time we've talked here, I think you're an awesome person, Carrie. And I think the world of you for shouldering all this stuff for your family and for your dad. And I know he thinks the world of you. So,
well, thank you. Like, I always try to be as respectful to like family and a person as I would want them to be like to my family.
Absolutely.
So I always try to make that happen.
Yeah. Personally, I like for strangers to choke me and fuck me and stuff because I don't like to be choked. Actually,
spit in my mouth.
That's a really big thing right now. Like people like to be choked. I'm not. Like I'm too fat to fall down. I will fucking I'll break stuff in your house and I will hurt my body very badly if I fall down.
Oh my god!
Like I leave a large hole.
Yeah,
you don't want that.
Unless you know someone that does really good drywall, you do not want to choke me. You know. Well, Carrie, do you have any questions for the bros of Brohio at all for us?
Oh God, I don't think so. I just really enjoy the podcast. I think it's hilarious.
Thank you.
I always laugh, obviously. But like you guys are just a fun time, and I appreciate it because some like are very like, you know.
We have no idea what we're doing.
Well, you guys just add like a fun element to like terrible things, like
this,
and it just makes it better. Like, you know, because some podcasts are like, and in the dark he said, blah, 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 blah.
And then he emerged from the shadows with an erect penis.
Right.
We've all been there.
Oh my god.
My wife's like, were you jerking off in the bathroom again last night?
As I emerged from the shadows to smell your hair and finish what I was doing.
Oh my god.
Well, thank you so much for the interview, and thanks for the really fucking creepy stories.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, no problem.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, it was fun talking to you guys. It was a good time.
And now we hit you with some questions. We're gonna talk to we're gonna hit the mortician with the more scientific stuff.
Okay.
Is there any questions that, like, you already know all the answers? So is there anything that you recommend that we should ask just to get a fucking shock answer? Just like, ask about the buttholes.
Okay, so a lot of people wonder about that. It's not like that interesting. It's just like gauze. It's like, it's nothing creepy.
Your
like,
butthole turns into gauze when you die?
No, so when you embalm afterwards,
you say afterwards or afterwards?
Afterwards.
After, like towards the ass.
So what they do is some funeral directors, not all, will take gauze and they it's like a big Q-tip, and they put it around the Q-tip, and then they just kind of put it between the butt cheeks. They don't stick it up the ass. Like somebody was like something about like a screw up the ass. I was like, that is not a fucking thing.
Like a butt plug?
Yeah. Yeah, somebody said that on the group. I was like, what the fuck?
Just go to Hustler Hollywood and get like a box of butt plugs.
Like we brought grandma's favorite butt plug.
I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of shock answers. I can't think of anything.
Okay, well, we will.
I'm sure you guys will.
Thank you again so much for your Patreon pledge. I think your shirt should be in this week. You're getting a gray one with blue, a blue Brohio insignia. This is the flagship of that style shirt. I feel bad sending pink ones to all the girls. Like, what if they don't like pink? So
I actually ordered a purple shirt and I ordered a blanket. So
a blanket?
finally got
Nice.
that. Yeah,
Do you have animals?
I do. I have a dog.
Send us pictures of your dog wrapped up in the Brohio blanket, please.
Oh
Okay,
man, that'd
I
be
would,
great.
but she's kind of an asshole, and I'm afraid she's gonna like do something bad to it.
So what
just
I've-
because I know that she would do that.
What I've found out over the years is, like, if you want to show dominance over a dog, you lay on it and piss on it, and it really, it really shows. Rob had a chest full of vape right there, and he's gagged. But you
Oh
gotta
my god!
put all your weight on him and just piss on him, and then it shows him who the boss is.
Oh my god, she's like 9 pounds, so I would like kill her. Like,
Yeah, or drown her. One of these.
Drowner. That's waterboarding right there.
All right, Carrie. Well, thank you so much, and I would love to. We should do a video chat here soon.
That'd be great.
We'll chat it up because you sound like a lot of fun, and we have more questions for you. So
all right,
Not-
sounds good.
not on a recorded line.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Carrie. Thank you so much.
All right, bye guys.
Thanks.
She was wonderful, wasn't she?
Absolutely. Even though she couldn't hear me.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna switch to Facebook this time.
Okay,
And I think
maybe
that
that'll work
picks
a
up
little
both
bit
of our mics. So
Okay. Cool.
that was the Patreon. She was the pledger who sponsored this episode, Carrie Joe. Fantastic fucking interview. But now we're gonna switch to our other friend. We're not using her real name. Her husband is a avid listener. She's a moderate listener, but she's gonna have some. She's a mortician. So
Hey. Yep.
let's dial her up. And we're here with Carl and Nancy. Nancy
Interview number 2.
is a mortician, and if you think they're using their fake real names, you're fucking wrong. We changed their names
What are you, stupid?
because Nancy is an educated professional. She's a real life mortician. She chops up dead bodies and she gives them to animals. That's what morticians do. Her husband is an avid listener. He's going by Carl. Carl, are you there? Can you say hello, Carl?
Hi, Carl.
Well played.
I love calling you Carl. Such a shitty
Call me
name.
Carl, anytime you want.
Oh, yeah. Now, Carl, he's an avid listener of Brohio. His wife, kinda.
I'm the same way.
But you are a board certified mortician. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now,
It's so cool.
I want to say that your husband told me you're the only female one in this county or state you're in. Don't say the county or the state, but which one is it?
No, I am the only female licensed crematory operator in my state.
Ah,
Or
nice.
county, actually.
Well, that's perfect because we're talking about the Tri-State Crematory. And when I first heard about the Tri-State Crematory, I thought that's where they made cream of wheat. Not true. Not true. Are you now, Nancy? Are you familiar with the horrors that went on at Tri-State Crematory?
I am.
Okay, they teach you about this, and where do you go to school to be a mortician?
Any accredited college.
Okay, so
But no, they don't teach you about this. I'm just a weird person that reads
perfect
all
for us.
about weird embalming, crematory, funeral trash.
You've come to the right fucking place. Now we interviewed the Patreon sponsor of the episode, Carrie. She works in a funeral home, like a family ran funeral home. She's worked there since she was a kid. We asked her some questions, but we've reserved the scientific things for you, Nancy, which I hope you're
Okay.
excited for that.
I'm super excited.
My first question is, what happens to your dick after you die?
He's been dying for this question. He cannot wait.
Well,
You don't have to call it a dick.
Yeah,
okay. Well, nothing really happens to it. It just stays flaccid. But when you are embalming fluid can travel to your dick and actually
It squirts
give you
out.
an erection.
Oh, okay.
Oh man.
It doesn't squirt out.
No.
Oh.
So if you're embalming a big fucker like me, you'd be like, oh, he's a grower, not a shower. After you start shooting whenever you're about to do it, do you scream, I'm about to shoot the juice when you put it in there?
only 9 times out of 10.
Okay. I was listening. No, I was reading something on Reddit. It was an AMA with a mortician, and they were talking about when they have to go to the scene to recover bodies, that oftentimes they'll get to bodies that have been decomposing for a while. There'd be like maggots on them and stuff. And the people, they say, the people recovering the bodies call the maggots disco rice. the bodies pop and shoot the maggots everywhere. And I fucking gagged on that for about 20 minutes. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. So, have you ever heard the term disco rice before, Nancy?
No, I have not.
Do you have to go on the scene at all to help, or is that more of Rob and I were talking about this? This is more reserved for like coroner services, I think.
No, we at the funeral home we have to go to wherever the person dies, whether it's at their house, a hospital, in a field, wherever you die, we're gonna come pick you up.
I believe you have to come to a field to get me. Drag my fucking fat ass out to the road.
I would probably just quit.
Yeah.
Corn cob shoved up your ass.
I would quit. Look at that mud slick he's leaving. I can't carry him any further. He's leaving fucking the grass up. Oh man. So how long have you been in the funeral services business?
Well, I actually grew up in the funeral service business, but me personally, I've been working at a funeral home for about 6 years.
Okay. So was your dad a mortician, or how'd that work?
Yes, he is.
Is he still active, or is he retired?
No, he's still active.
Okay. Do you ever call him with like questions like, "Dad, I was trying to get this knee bone. It was kind of facing the wrong way," and you ask him questions like that?
Oh, all the time.
Okay, good. And is he happy? Is he happy to answer him for you?
Well, I think that he probably just gets a little bit annoyed.
Why did I pay for you to go to fucking college for if you're gonna call and ask me all the goddamn questions?
I paid for my college and I didn't learn a thing. So.
Nancy, you fucking just like your mother.
Now, there's so many fun questions to ask you. Carrie said that, well, she didn't say this, but I'm going to say she said it. Do you use butt plugs on the bodies?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
She said that she uses gauze in the butt cheeks, but some people say there's like a corkscrew that goes in their ass.
Yes, that's what I prefer to use is the corkscrew.
What if
I mean, the less time that I can be up there, the better. So I don't know why she's shoving gauze at people's butts, but I mean, to each their own, I suppose.
Well, I don't think she said she was shoving it up there. I said
Yeah, it was in the butt cheeks.
They just place it along the butt cheeks.
Or in the butt crack.
Yeah, but then that's gonna get like leakage on it. So just prevent the problem. Just shove the cork up there and just be done with it.
I guess that's one way to look at it. Oh man. Now, if they have a real tight ass like Carl, do they shoot the butt plug out, or does that usually stay in there okay?
Well, that's something we've been working on.
Okay, Carl.
I think that's for a different conversation.
Take it one day at a time, my friend.
Yeah. Just gotta lube it up and get it in
Yeah.
there.
Oh God.
Be a trooper.
A little bit of spit.
I'm getting excited thinking about it.
Now, a lot of questions that one thing that people would I guess would ask whenever, I guess when you get to a body that's kind of more fresh than the others, do you get a lot of involuntary movements from the body at all?
They're so subtle that you don't even know it. Like, bodies don't actually set up.
Listen to me, Nancy. A body moving at all is not, a dead body is not subtle.
Well, it's just like a twitch. Like, you wouldn't even notice it. It's completely normal.
Oh, fuck. But the first time it scared you, the first time it happened, it had to have scared the fucking shit out of you, right?
I'm gonna feel like you're gonna think I'm weird if I say no, so I guess yes.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh,
So there's your answer.
So scary. Have you ever encountered a situation where you were working on a body? What's the most what the fuck moment you've had while working on a body?
Well, one night, me and another guy were embalming, and our embalming room's kind of like attached to like the garage area, And
You guys embalm in a garage?
no, we don't embalm in the garage. The room that we embalm in is attached to the garage.
Oh, okay, good.
No.
I gotta change the oil after this one.
You work for Tri-State Crematory?
Yeah, I thought that was a requirement to do this.
Go on.
And we're back there. It's like 2:30 in the morning, and we hear the door to the garage open and slam shut.
Oh,
And
shit.
so I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of paranormal activity that goes on.
Do you? Oh, fuck that, man. When I think about funeral homes, as far as like hauntings and stuff, that's not where all the trauma happens. So I don't like to think that funeral homes are that haunted. But the fact that I hear a lot about bodies kind of hovering over their physical bodies, or spirits hovering over their physical bodies, you got to think, if you believe in that type thing, there's a lot of activity like that going on.
You would think there would have to be.
I'm not down with that, Nancy. That seems kind of weird for me.
Sometimes we'll be at the funeral home and just sitting in our offices, not doing anything, and we can smell cigarette smoke, and none of us are smokers.
Okay.
So we have some pretty weird things that go on.
I can imagine. Now we do have some questions from our closed group here. I'm gonna throw some of these at you. This is a really good question. Do the corpse, do they ever fart?
Well, no.
That's what a fart sounds like.
I mean, yeah.
I know
yes,
women don't
most of the
fart.
time most of the time, if they do that, then they poop, and then you have other problems.
They
So-
make poop. I love that.
Oh no
so
way,
that's
dude.
more of a problem than the farting.
On a
Yes,
s-
they do fart.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how much does dead person poop smell like? How bad does it smell?
10.
Oh yeah.
Carl has a pretty good story about me coming home with poop all over me one time. And I made him take my suit to the dry cleaners.
Oh, you saved the suit? What a fucking penny pincher you are.
I had to explain to the lady why there was blood, piss, and shit on
Jeez.
the suit. It was not fun.
Carl's like, she was talking bad to me at Walmart. I took her home. I beat the piss out of her. Jesus. Now, sorry, I'm reading through these questions here. There was a question about the is that the only type of paranormal activity that you've come across, is the garage door?
Yeah, and the cigarette smoke. Other than that, it's pretty normal.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Have you ever found anything weird in a cadaver?
No. I
Never
can't say that I have.
Like a toy car?
No.
A butt plug.
Yeah, if you consider that weird.
To each their own.
Well, I mean, if you die with it in your butt, that's kind of weird. But
What do your eyeballs do after you die?
oh, that's a good question.
They kind of sink in a little bit, and so we have like eye caps that we can put in to make you appear a little bit more natural.
Like fake eyeballs?
No, they're just like little caps that go over your natural eyes.
I used to paint eyes on my eyelids in high school so they couldn't tell when I was sleeping.
They use
Yeah.
those old like the bow and arrows that have the suction cups on the end of them. They stick them to the eyeball and just pull them up.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. So are the eye caps, is that like a every person kind of thing, or is that only every once in a while?
No, that's every once in a while.
Okay. Now,
Nothing weird happens to your eyes.
well, I know you grew up in the business, but is there anything that made you want to like maintain the course on that? Or was it just did it feel like you had to, or did you genuinely like the field?
Well, actually, my dad didn't even want me to get into the business.
Oh, really?
So, kind of went against him on that. But really, I was just happy to be around people who don't talk back to me.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus
That was a good
Christ.
thing.
And if they do, then you really do got a problem.
Oh, man.
Yeah, then they're at the wrong place.
Now, Rob, if you have any questions here, you just jump in.
I'm gonna piggyback on the question that I asked the last person. Is that what was one of the most, or one of the more like I don't know what I want to like how I want to word it. What's one of the more extreme cases of a body that you saw come in? Like if something like some type of like a crazy car accident or like a brutal murder or something like that. Like what's something like that you can remember right off the bat that it was like a oh shit moment?
I will say people like always talk about like car crash victims or like gunshot wounds and all that. I think the worst case that I had is someone hung themselves and just actually seeing that, like, that was the worst thing I've probably seen.
Yeah, it fucks your neck up bad.
Yeah, it really does.
I wouldn't do it.
I don't recommend it.
Was it because of like the bruising or the swelling, or like what exactly was it?
Just from, hanging there for so long, like their neck was just about the size of like my wrist.
Oh, jeez.
It was just so weird. Like there was like a full size head on this like itty bitty neck, and then like a full size man body, and you're just like, okay, well, this is a little messed up.
Oh wow.
God, Jesus.
You wouldn't think that it would like retain that shape, but I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just burp puked.
We lost Nick on that one.
Our friend Jacob says, would you rather suck 10 dicks one time or one dick 10 times? This is for Carl.
I mean, whose dick is it?
My dick, Carl.
Oh, well, probably just the one then.
Yes. Sign him up.
That's the right answer.
Oh, God. Now, I got a question here.
Okay.
Whenever, so you have people, the families that bring the bodies, and they say, I really want to have a viewing, or I want to have them cremated, no viewing. Have you ever had a family that requested you set the body up for a viewing, and you actually had to go back to the family and say, listen, they're so fucked up that we can't do anything with the body at all. You're better off with a closed casket type deal.
Oh, definitely. But most of the time we have examined the body beforehand, and so we can advise the family, like, you really just don't need to view this person. And then what we try to do is like cover up their trauma. So if their trauma is on their face, we'll cover up their face, but let them view their hands, or let them view like a leg, so they can at least say, yes, this is my loved one.
Okay. This is all in a day's work to you. And I'm weeping right now. I'm crying. There's real tears coming out of me, and I'm scared. Have you ever had to do anyone famous?
I mean, no.
Did you get Hugh Hefner?
Well, I can't really talk about that.
Big
It's
old dick.
confidentiality thing.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like a HIPAA type thing.
Exactly.
Oh, very good. She's smarter about her shit right now. She already told us that your dick gets hard when you get embalmed, though, so it's too late.
It's a win for us.
Oh, is there anything that? Are you the only person at your funeral home that performs the embalmings, or is there other people that do it as well?
No, we have several others at my facility.
Now, do you have like a specific? Do you only get fat chicks, or do you only get fat guys, or?
What's your specialty?
What's your specialty?
No.
Can you refuse? Can
Just
you?
the luck of the draw.
Can you refuse? Like, for instance, maybe a child or someone. Maybe you get someone that looks like your great Uncle Herb, and you're like, I can't do this one. Are you allowed to pass stuff off?
Oh yeah, we work really well together. So
Okay.
if I don't have any children, so if we have a child's death, that's something that I may take care of instead of someone else that has a child at our facility. So we work together really well on that.
That's good, man.
I couldn't. The kid thing would drive me crazy.
I don't think I could do it.
I don't think so either.
Oh. Do you have any questions for the bros of Brohio at all while you have us here? Nope.
No question.
Good.
She was wondering how big your dick was.
Mine's actually inside my body right now.
Same.
Have you
Hers too.
ever had any super weird requests from the family at all? Like, dress him up like Krusty the Clown or anything weird like that?
Make sure you put his gold teeth in. He wants to wear his grill.
We have had like some weird things. Like we've had people just put like weird stuff in the caskets.
A cat?
I mean,
Live
yes.
cat? Oh.
No, it wasn't alive, but someone died and their cat died the next day, and they put it in the freezer.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
Before the burial.
You're going out, I'm going out too. Oh man, that's so weird. But you've never had to dress anyone up like a clown or anything?
Not yet. I'm waiting for my opportunity.
Now when you put the clothes on them, do you have to cut the clothes from behind to get it on?
depends how big they are. If they're not very big, then I'm not going to cut it. But I'm not about to try to dress someone who's 500 pounds.
Yeah, but you would.
I'm cutting that.
But if I was like 280, you would dress me though.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, good to know. As far as okay, you're the only. Say what your license is again. That you're the only female. What?
In our county, crematory operator.
Okay, so you do a lot of cremations as well.
Well, we actually don't do any at our facility.
Okay.
So I just more or less have it in case people have questions that come to us for
Oh,
cremation.
very good. So like a resume builder, so you get paid more money.
Yeah,
I like it.
smart, right?
But you said you are familiar with this Tri-State Crematory.
I am.
What, in your opinion, led to the predicament of so many bodies just lying around like that?
I think a couple of things. I think one, funeral homes get very overwhelmed. We have, families that call us all hours of the night wanting questions answered. They think that we're just there all the time. And I think that the facility just got overwhelmed and they probably were understaffed. And it just, one body led to another that led to another. I'm not saying that it's right, but I think that's what happened.
Oh, god damn. That sounds about right, too. And I'm looking at some questions on Reddit here. So I'm not claiming these questions as my own. I'm getting these from an AMA. But there's one that says, it's from an ICU nurse. It says, do morticians really appreciate when the central lines are left in? She said she's told that it helps with the embalming procedures. Is that true?
It doesn't really make any difference to me. I mean, it can help with the embalming if we're unable to find the artery and veins that we need. So I'm personally good with it either way.
Okay. Have you ever embalmed a dwarf before?
No, but I'm absolutely waiting for my opportunity on that.
Okay.
That and a nugget.
A nugget?
Yeah.
Like a poop
Like
Like
nugget?
a little turd?
Like a person with no arms or legs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I call those
After-
potato people.
potato people.
Well,
Jesus.
they're nuggets, so
Nuggets.
get
Okay, that-
straight.
Oh,
And
man.
after I do that, I'm probably going to get out of the business because
There you go.
There you go. That's
all my dreams will come true.
yeah, your bucket list right there.
That's right.
How hard is it to not take this shit home? Like whenever you're doing this, whenever you go home and Carl's like, "Kiss me." How hard is it to block out the dead you've been dealing with all day?
It's not hard at all. I mean, come home, drink a couple of beers, and I'm good.
When I was a correction officer, I used to come home and drink and beat my wife and kids. Do you do something similar to that?
Yes.
just embalm the neighbors' animals.
Oh man, how hard is it? Jesus.
If you could work to one song on repeat, what would it be?
Probably Hip to Be Square.
Okay.
Hip to be. I'm not familiar. Is that a Taylor Swift song?
No. Look it up after we get off the phone. Look up Hip to Be Square,
Okay.
and it will forever change your life.
Okay. I saw a picture on Facebook one time of a guy that died and they put him on a fucking motorcycle. Have you guys ever had to do anything like that before? Like all
No.
G'd out on a Harley?
No.
Would you recommend other people to get into the business, or are you just like, no, it's just... I would have to imagine being raised in it helps out 99%. I read that the graduation rate from mortician school is about 50%. Or I'm sorry,
Yeah, it's-
embalming school. Or if there's a fucking difference, I don't know.
It is a very a job that you just have to be 100% dedicated to. So you're on call at night. You are around just sadness all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to just be like a really strong person to be able to do it. But I 100% recommend it. Their job is just so rewarding that at the end of the day, it's great.
Okay. Have you ever been on, I guess it might have been part of your training, but been on like an autopsy before?
I have. All of the autopsies are in a bigger town near us.
Okay.
And so most of the time they're embalmed in that town and then brought to us. But then we still have to make sure that they're all put back together.
Okay. Oh, shit. What's the nastiest one you've had come in?
I mean, it's a hard one.
Are they usually done stinking when they get to you?
Oh no.
Oh man.
Because I used to work in law enforcement. One smell you can never, ever get rid of is the smell of a rotting corpse. That is one smell that can never leave you. No matter, it's like burned into your nose forever.
Yeah. We've had someone that came in. They had gangrene.
Oh man.
That smells horrible.
Did you have to cut off the limb and bag it up?
No, we have chemicals that we can put on top of it.
Bleach.
Yeah, and we just control it.
Chex Mix.
Yeah. And brain matter. That's another one that you just it's horrible. It's a horrible smell.
What do you think happens to you after you die? Do you think you get worked on by morticians, or you think you go to heaven?
Well, I hope, because I dedicate so much into it, that they at least remember it.
Yeah.
So when they get to heaven, then they can say, "Oh, she was great."
Yeah, she was drinking beer while she was doing it, but they can't tell. They can't tell on you. Oh man! Well, thank you so much for answering our questions, Rob.
Great.
Do you have any more questions that you would like to ask this mortician while we have her here?
I had something, but I lost it.
Okay.
I'll try to find it.
Is your hunger ever affected by your job at all? Your appetite?
I probably get more hungry.
Nasty motherfucker.
Atta girl.
It's past my lunch hour. I'm getting angry, and so I get more hungry.
Oh man. Oh, this is a really good question. This is from Reddit as well. It says, have any corpse phones somehow made it to the mortuary and gone off while you were performing on them?
Oh man, that's a good one.
No, because unfortunately nowadays, if you die at the hospital or you die at home or wherever, either the hospital takes those and gives those to your family, or the coroner takes them. So we don't ever get anything cool like that.
Have you ever had like an oh shit moment? Like, okay, the zombie thing might be happening. Like maybe a twitch or a movement that was way more than another that just maybe possibly scared the shit out of you?
No, but that's also why we tie their shoelaces together.
Oh no, so they can't get up and run away.
Exactly.
You stupid fuck, you're gonna fall over.
Well, if they come back as a zombie, we know zombies aren't going to be able to untie their shoes. So,
God.
Yeah.
Man.
So you don't believe in zombies?
No.
So is there anything else like that, like kind of superstitious, like base that you like affects what you do, or like that you would do something different than what you would normally? Besides tying the shoes, because I mean I wouldn't have ever thought about that, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so if you ever come to our area where the zombie apocalypse is happening, no zombies are going to be able to get you.
No, please untie my shoes.
No, I'm pretty.
Everything else is just by the book.
Everything else you just buy the book.
You ever go home and make Carl smell your fingers?
Far too many times.
Okay. Oh man. Well, I think that's good for now. I think it's a good interview for Mortician. I think we might have you on another episode sometime.
You need to have like a whole segment called Ask a Mortician and just call me.
I'm so about that.
That will be a fantastic episode. Well, Nancy and Carl, thank you so much for coming on the Brohio Podcast Show. Our episode this week is over 2 hours, which the people are going to be very excited for.
Yep.
They like the longer episodes. We got 2 really good interviews. I thank you for the job that you do. I know this is not something that people want to deal with.
Yeah.
But without people like you, the world wouldn't go round. But fortunately, since we have people like you, I can die, and it's okay. 'Cause it's going to be okay. Have you ever had to take care of one of your personal loved ones before?
No, I have not. The closest I've ever been to is like a coworker's family.
Okay.
But that's it.
Yeah. I can imagine that one would be pretty fun. Would you want to, or would you ask that someone else do it?
I would probably want to do like their makeup and make them like look good.
Perfect. Yeah.
And that would be because I'd be so judgmental, like going in there and seeing them, and if they look like crap, I would just be mad.
If you do me, will you put a fat ass blunt in my hand?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had people put weed in caskets.
Hey.
Guns?
Guns, yes. I've had guns. I've had pregnancy test.
Holy shit!
I've had 6 packs of beer.
Oh.
So anything you want, we'll make sure it gets in there.
Whenever I worked at the prison, we had to do these things called funeral runs where say an inmate had a family member that died, they would, if they had good behavior and the situation was right, we had to drive them to the funeral home so they could observe the body. But what would happen is they would make all of the family leave the funeral home so no one had contact with the inmate, and we would walk the inmate into the funeral home, and then we would have to go up to the body, and we would have to check under the body, like all around it, under the head, beside it, to check for guns and firearms and stuff like that, to make sure this inmate couldn't walk up and get a gun and fucking shoot us.
Oof.
That's a fun story, right?
I do actually have one more question before we let you go that I just thought of. Is there anything that you can think of off the top of your head that you remember from pop culture some way or another that is complete and utter horseshit, or that pissed you off once you saw?
Oh,
No.
don't even get me started. Every movie that has ever been invented is always wrong about funerals.
Really?
The only movie that's good is Bernie.
Okay.
And also, if you ever watch 6 Feet Under, they're pretty accurate on most things,
Right.
but everyone else just sucks.
That's Michael C. Hall. He's all about it.
That's right.
Oh, well,
That's good to know.
that's good. That's all good
Don't
stuff.
believe the things you see on TV, children.
All right, Nancy, Carl,
Thank you guys.
thank you guys. Thanks for being
Thanks,
thanks for being awesome listeners and for doing this. So,
thanks
for
for
having
having us.
We'll
Yep.
do this again.
Yep, we will.
We're looking forward to it.
Thank you, guys.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Here we go, Rob Dog.
That was great.
Fantastic fucking shit, right?
Yeah, really good.
Thanks for tuning in this week, guys. I have no idea what we're doing next week.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Love you guys.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.